Welcome back to the Unmonths Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about something that's been going on for, I think it's maybe close to, I don't know, maybe 9-10 days now? I'm not really sure, but this is actually episode 19 we are on, and I know I say this every time, I'm serious, and I know my mom, she's going to be sitting there going, you don't have to say this every time, but I mean, seriously, we are on episode 19 of this podcast, and it's just crazy to think the Lord's allowed it to go this far. I know that all of us podcasters, we say, we didn't expect the Lord to take our journeys and our walks in this direction to have a podcast or even start one and let it affect others and help people. So it's just an absolute blessing. And I've got stuff planned for March already coming up, and I'm excited about that. It's more interviews with people inside my church, so stay tuned for that. And I just want to tell you the title of today's episode, if you can see by the, I don't know what you call it, the thumbnail or whatever you want to call it. It is just stop and let the Lord work. And what, I don't know how long this episode's going to be, and I hope I don't ramble on too much. But what it's going to be about is, yes, probably you figured the Asbury Revival, but also everything else that I've just noticed, and these maybe the tail end of January to February, because February, it's just, think about this, and Donovan was talking about it to me a little bit too. It is just February, and all this is already happening, and I'll get into all of it here in a second, but, all this is happening, and it's just February. Imagine what he's going to do moving forward into 2023, because when I was talking with Donovan on his podcast not too long ago, maybe it was I was the last interview he had before he hit his 1 year mark, and we were talking about he was like, he just felt in his that there was a storm coming, right? And at first I was thinking, that could be, but now I really see it. I mean, it's just such an awesome thing. I knew, that I felt something was different about it, about 2023, but with everything going on, I didn't expect it to be this huge. And, the first thing I'll jump into is, The Chosen, right? And yes, I know it's not a perfect show. Of course not. It's not, But, you have to consider, it is a show about Jesus Christ, right? And the life of him and his disciples. And when they put the final 2 episodes into theaters, it was number 1 in the box office, beating Avatar. Yes, I'm aware that Avatar had been out for a while at some point. However, just for it to beat Avatar in the box office at any point is, crazy to think about. That is Disney, we're talking about here. That is you're beating, The Chosen, or, Angel Studios, which, if you didn't know, it's crowdfunded is what The Chosen is. So, t-shirts, donations, and stuff like that. That's what goes towards the episodes. I believe they have, 3 episodes already funded now for Season 4, which is absolutely insane. And I encourage you, please, it's definitely something that you can watch with your entire family, I would say. Because one thing that the creator, Dallas Jenkins, has said, he didn't expect kids to watch the show, but they're loving it as much as adults, if not more. And it's something that people, I think, have been longing for so long, because, all the stuff you see on TV and everything, with these, vulgar things, and whatever it may be, and I won't get into it too much, but just, an example is, the Grammys this year, and also, some people might say the halftime show as well for the Super Bowl. It was very, vulgar, and, especially the Grammys were, satanic, right? So it's just refreshing to see something like this on our TV screens, in our theaters, and the thing about it is, the theaters want The Chosen, They want it so bad, they're requesting it, and, so much so that they are requesting to have The Chosen in the theaters for longer, because of the demand for seeing it on the big screen. And, think about it. A couple years ago, that wasn't even, thought of, and I know some people, they might have lost hope by that point. And this is exactly what all of this in 2023 is giving people. It's giving people hope. And sure, there's blowback, to everything. Of course there is. And, like some things I've seen that just didn't make sense to me, right? With, say, The Chosen. And I promise you I'll get to other things here in a minute. But, with The Chosen, I saw somebody, they posted an article or something, that was saying, like, this shows why The Chosen, you shouldn't watch it and all that. Well, here's the thing. Yes, I'm aware. You have the right to post your opinion. And that, that's just how it is. I get that. But what I don't understand is why, discourage somebody from watching a show, which the creator of the show says he knows it is fiction. I mean, and I understand their argument is, biblical accuracy and all that. Well, here's the thing. Like, do they not read what it says in the first, episode? It says stories have been combined, shortened, whatever, to fit in a cohesive story. But they encourage you to read the Gospels and dive into the Bible more. And that's what it's doing for people. I heard stories about after they came out to see the first 2 episodes when they put those in theaters. People, they were asking them as they were coming out, they said, are you opening your Bible more? You think you're going to do it? And they said, yeah. And heard another story of, it was, people, they were, there was a little girl. She, I think Dallas, the creator, posted it. They had watched the show, and then 2 weeks later, she got baptized. You can't tell me that's not a good thing. Like, if you don't want to watch it, fine. Don't watch it. But, it is encouraging people, so don't discourage others who want to watch it, or whatever that may be, I just don't understand, shouldn't, we be lifting each other up, and regardless of, whatever it may be, instead of, tearing each other down on what we want and what we do. That's not going to help anybody if you're going to tear someone down, and just be negative about everything. And unfortunately, there's people out there like that are just so negative, and they don't like to see the positive in things. But in this day and age, you have to see the positive, because if you don't, you're just going to be all, just sad, moody, grumpy, and whatever other words I could use, to describe, a time like that. But moving on from The Chosen, there was also some other things that I've noticed as well, these 2 things, they are tied to, actually, you know what, let's go into some smaller things, and then I'll get to some of the bigger ones, too. Some smaller things that have happened that I've noticed, is, it's been maybe a couple weeks now, but, literally right down the road from my house, it was maybe, I could walk there if I wanted to. They had a tent set up, and it was a tent revival, and, I'm telling you, my dad said he could hear, them just praising the Lord and just being so excited about it. And I don't know how long it would last for, but I think it would last, well into the night. And that's never happened before that I've seen or noticed, so that was just one thing. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, and yes, the NFL still has a long way to go, I'm aware. They have a long way to go in terms of getting back to where they used to be. However, there has been more and more players that have come back to their faith, especially, I believe, after Damar Hamlin, the football player who collapsed on the field. But, with that, though, it's so strange, and Donovan mentioned this in his latest episode with Cody, which, please, if you have not check this episode out, with them, please, I recommend you go and check those 2 out, because both of them, and I'll even put the episode and their links in the description, because they are 2 of my bestest podcaster friends, if you want to go and say it like that. But, so it was such an encouraging conversation. It went on for about an hour, 30 minutes. I had to kind of take some breaks in there, but it was such an encouraging conversation. And they touch on some of the stuff that I'm touching on. But one of the things that Donovan was saying was that, why, there's people out there, yeah, sure. You look at all the articles, people were saying, oh yeah, pray for Damar, right? Well, those are the same people, talking about Disney and all them, right? That are against God, against prayer. So it's something. It's like when it fits the standard, when it fits their narrative, that's when they go and that's when they say it. But when it doesn't fit, no, they're against it. It's just something it's like which one are you? You can't have your cake and eat it too. And it's just kind of a weird situation. But now, let's see. So there was, what else was there? There was so much that I'd noticed. And also, I mean, this could have been part of it as well. My FCA team, or kind of part of the leadership team at my school, we were able to move from the Aux Gym, which is a pretty small gym, to the Pack Room, which is the Performing Arts Center, which they just built with the new building that we had. So we actually have chairs in there now. I'm telling you, the attendance and all has been pretty good, and we're hoping to have even more youth as well as teachers come in, because we're in a more comfortable space now, and with more places and more room, and I believe that the Lord knew that all this was going to happen, so He allowed us to have that other space so we can spread our word to more people. But that was just a blessing so much. But now I'm finally going to dive into what probably most people think I'm going to talk about, and that would be the Asbury Revival. But I'm also going to tie it in with Jesus Revolution, the film that's coming out starring Jonathan Rumi. So that revival, right? I don't know when I got wind of it or saw it. I don't know. As of recording this, I believe it's still going on. But it's it was so refreshing to see. You open your feed and you're seeing all these things about and how it started too. Because my friend actually, Baines, did a report on it for his English class. And, from what I read on that report, because he let me read it, was, it was started by a group of guys. They just stayed after the service was over. And then more and more just started coming back, and just started coming in and coming back. And so now they haven't left. And that influence is being felt all across the country. I think it might have been about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I'm not really sure. I think it's maybe a little less than that, actually. My college here, I don't go to college yet, but the college here in my hometown of Valdosta, VSU, has, it's had its own, little, I don't know if you wouldn't call it a revival, however, you had, college kids praying, for 5 hours for our country, and, that's just extraordinary. Just to think about. And I know I was talking to Donovan, and he said the same thing happened. I think it was in Lee, it was in a college near, near 45 minutes away from him. And, just to think that stuff, all that is breaking out, it's just so awesome. And, also, too, I believe the Lord wanted this to happen around the time, or He wanted the movie and this to coincide, because, everybody, of course, now is talking about the revival in the 70s, which is what the movie is about. And, I wouldn't say people have, you can look at the film as a basis, but, definitely people can look at, evidences, news articles, things like that from the 70s, and look and see how, this time and how that revival compares to this one, because that church, the reason why it's so in particular is because Asbury was a part of the main 70s revival, so that's why it's so significant that a group of kids, college kids, are coming back to that church after so many years and getting saved, getting worshiping, and just and repenting of their sin. It's such an amazing time to be living in, and people don't even know it's happening because the media has no idea how to cover it, because it's been since the 70s since all this happened, right? And the reason why, like I said, I tie Jesus Revolution into it is because you have, I just find it's so cool that the Lord said, what, we're going to do this. and then we're gonna have this film come out as well, and then we're just gonna get people talking about Revival as a whole, and then maybe, it could spark. It'll not maybe. He knew it was gonna spark something, and it did. And I just pray that it continues. And I know that I don't. And this is one thing that Don Holland talks about. And I know I mention his name a lot, but I'm telling you, if you have not gone and listened to an episode of his podcast, please do. I'm telling you, man, just go do it. And Cody's, all of them. Like, please, Ben, Justin, all of them, go and listen, because they are amazing people. But anyway, so one thing I do not understand, and it kind of is similar to the Chosen backlash, right? Is, I saw people, they were talking about whether this revival, as they were calling it, is it biblical? Is it godly? Is it of God? What, and, they were getting, I remember, or not remember, this happened a couple days ago. I won't say names, but I had somebody, that commented on something, because I just posted, an article or something, well, not really an article, but somebody had wrote something about it, and I just said, hey, a storm's coming, just to show people, look what's happening, right, in our country. They said, they were, they called it, I don't remember exactly what they said, but, it was against it, saying, I wouldn't call it a revival yet, I'd call it, curious optimism. And, the one problem I had with that is, I just don't understand. So, that, understood that, we pray for a revival all the time, right? That it's an amazing thing to feel and see, right? But then those same people will go and criticize others and just bog them down in cruelty and hate and just be so mean about it and mean-spirited. It's and I don't understand that. And it's honestly a bit agitating, and I think and I said this, to my mom, because we were talking about it, the other night, and then my pastor said it, in similar words, the same way, Sunday, is, people, stop being investigative and let the Lord work and get out the way. That's just the best way you could put it. Is, you don't have to overanalyze everything. Just let the Lord work. He's obviously doing a good work in Asbury and other places. It's spreading to VSU. It's spreading to places in Tennessee, and I'm sure other places that I've not heard of yet. But, just let the Lord work and do what He wants to do with it. I just don't understand why you have to hyper-analyze over everything and, be, so discouraging to others and, because it crushes, that can, that can really affect somebody and you don't realize it. But then you get angry at somebody. It's not a good, it's not a good feeling, right? And it also can just, like I said, it makes people feel bad, and then also get some questions is this a good thing? I promise you, this right here, this revival, how can it not be? If people are getting saved, and that was one thing that people were arguing as well, what if they get saved and baptized and all, and then they go back to a normal, not normal life, but if they go back to their old ways, right? Well, here's the thing, people were arguing that. My mom, she made a good point about this. That can happen in a normal church setting. So, that can happen. Now, we pray that doesn't happen? Yes, 100%, we do. But that can happen anywhere, that, not just at Asbury, but that can happen. But like I said, we pray it doesn't. So that argument is very weak, and I know I'm kind of ranting about the argument side of things, but it just kind of got me tizzed a little bit, because, like I said earlier, this is a good thing, and yet people either downplay it, or they just, I don't know, I don't know why they feel the need to jump at it as a negative way. And, there's people out there like that they just feel like they have to jump at it in a negative way, and we just have to be kind to them and, love them. Even though it may be hard at times, we have to be. and just show them how we see it. And because I would really, really, believe that this can bring more people together. But if we're arguing about the logistics, whether this is godly, whether this is this and that, this or that, it's not. It's going to drive people further apart, and that's not what the Lord wants. He wants His people to come together. And I believe that can happen. We just have to. I'm not going to say we will not be on the same page exactly, but if we can mostly agree that it's a good thing, then we'll be all right. I just there's not much I could say. I'm kind of rambling, like I said, but if let's just let the Lord work, and see what He wants to do. Like I said, He's already doing things in other places other than just Kentucky. So what imagine what He could do so this is just February, right? Imagine what He could do in March, May, all the way in December. Imagine what that's going to be like if this trend continues and He, allows it to continue. Like, imagine how many people could get saved and come to Christ and live for Him, right? And then, you'll still have that one person out there that thinks what I'm saying right now on this podcast is a bad thing. And before I talk about something else, I do want to say this. And no, I am no way trying to criticize people or whatever. However, don't be knocking somebody else. That's not good to do. They're excited and they're hopeful, and that's what people need in today's society, because it's filled with hateful, hateful and vulgar things, like I said earlier, and they need hope, And just the one final thing on it, and my pastor said something similar. He said, what would you rather college kids be doing? Would you rather them be worshiping the Lord or hurting each other? What would you rather them be doing? Heck, worshiping the Lord sounds a whole lot better to me than hurting themselves or other people, right? It does. But then the final thing I want to dive into is something that is actually for my church, and I'm sure I'll do an episode on it. And it'll actually be done with by the time this episode comes out. But it's actually called D Now, and just as a and I don't know if the Lord used, again, I don't know if He used this all that's going on. He may have, I don't know yet, to have this many kids come for D Now. I'll explain what it is in a minute, but we have over, I know it's over 100 kids for D Now, and it's something my church does. And what it is you have host homes, which my mom's going to be one, and I'm so thankful for that. And you have host homes, and you have a group of kids, so like mine's the 11th grade boys, and so your host homes, obviously, that's where you stay for the weekend, but most of the events and things like that are going to be at the church, and, it's just a weekend of discipleship and worshiping with your age group and getting to know more people. And I think it's just going to be a really fun weekend. This will be my first one, as well as, a few of my friends as well that are in my group. And to have it here at my house is, I'm fortunate for that. And also, the only thing we're wondering about is how we're going to fit 11 kids, 2 parents, and 2 youth leaders into my house that's usually built for 3. So that'll be a challenge, but you know what? We definitely need to be praying about it, for sure. But I'll definitely do an episode on it and tell you how that goes. Because it's going to be something that's, it's new, and also, too, we're going to be, I know the D Now kids are going to be singing in the choir, those 2 services that morning, and it's just going to be a really fun time, and I'll for sure do an episode on it, as well. But, just to give some final thoughts, just, stay hopeful, because it's a really amazing time that the Lord's working through, and what He's doing, and like I said, I don't know, and when this episode airs, who knows, the revival may be done by then, I don't know, I pray that it is not, and I hope it expands, and the effects of it expand far and wide, and who knows, maybe even international. I don't know. That's my hope, but just stay encouraged, really, and just keep going, and I get, this world is dark, and, it can be full of hate, but just hold on to everything that I said, just think about everything that I said in terms of, like, all the good stuff, right? That, because that can give you hope right there, and it's definitely giving me hope, I'll tell you that much, and, just think about, just keep thinking about those things, and even, if you're struggling through something, I tell you, I've said this before, you're not alone in whatever that may be. Promise you, there's hundreds and maybe thousands of people that they're dealing with the same thing, but Satan does not want you to find those people, and he wants to put doubt in your head that they don't exist, and you're the only one that's going through this, and that you're not going to be able to get yourself out of it, or the Lord won't help you get you free of that sin. Like, I promise you, you can, with the Lord's help, and because He will forgive you, and He will provide you with mercy, I promise. But and just like I said, there's people out there that are struggling with the same exact thing. Please just stay encouraged, please, and I think if there's someone out there that has listened to every single episode up to this point, so like I said, we're on episode 19, right? If there's somebody that's listened to every single episode up to this point, I thank you so much, because that is a lot of my voice. But it has been a blast recording these first 19, and I can't wait for you to see what we have planned going forward. But I guess I will see you in the next one, which is going to be episode 20. Thanks for listening.